Peace. Yo, this Lord Supreme representing Bridgeport, Connecticut on our Supreme Alphabet language, born power, truth, seed, truth. I wanted to take this time because I wanted to be able to share my insight with those that are on the journey to knowledge of self. Now, I know a couple years back I did a video about newborns coming into the nation of gods and earths. However, I want to be able to stress that a little bit more and bring forth a little bit more understanding into regards of what this journey is about. First off, what you need to understand is when you're on the road or the journey of knowledge of self, one thing you have to be is honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to be real honest and dig deep within yourself and ask yourself, what is the reason that I want knowledge of self? And what is it going to do for me? And how is it going to benefit me? Another thing that you have to realize is that you have to be open-minded. In other words, you cannot shut your mind down from the things that you want to learn while on this journey. Because at the end of the day, if you're closed-minded, that means basically you're trapping yourself into a box in which you're only thinking one-dimensionally. You know, you're not thinking in the second dimension or the third dimension. You're thinking more on the lines of, I'm gonna learn this one way and this is the way I'm gonna go about it. And that's not always the case when it comes to knowledge of self, because you have to have many different methods and ideologies or ways of approach when dealing with people, because everybody might not be on that same level. Another thing is you have to be willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? One can only learn what one teaches self. Also, one can only learn what others teach them, if you're willing. You know what I'm saying? That means that you have the decision to make in regards to this knowledge of self, because sometimes people get caught up in, oh, knowledge of self is like, you know, accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior or taking Shahada as a Muslim. No, it's much different, because it's setting you now on a cultural path, not a religious path, a cultural path. So the thing is, you're going to learn about many different cultures, many different walks of life, many different facets of reality, in which from before you only learned about one aspect. If you was a Christian, you only learned about Christianity. If you were a Muslim, you learned about Islam, Orthodox Islam, you know, in religious context. So with knowledge of self, it teaches you to be real with who you are as a person. That means digging deep, doing some cross-examination, some introspection, some reflecting on the things that you need to learn more about yourself in order for you to better yourself on this journey that you're on. One thing that I cannot stress, one thing that I do stress and emphasize is the idea that, right, when it comes down to this journey, you have to, and I repeat, you have to drop everything that you used to know or used to learn and learn something new. I remember I put a post up on Facebook and it said, with Yoda on it, it says you must unlearn what you learned. And that basically means everything that you was taught from when you was a child to now, the age that you are, you have to drop that, because of the mere fact that you cannot bring new sheets on the old bed, or you can't put a new bed, you can't lay on a new bed with old bed sheets. You know what I'm saying? If you understand what I mean. If you don't, then I'll break it down a little bit further. You can't try to learn something new with your old way of thinking, basically, and simply put. You have to be able, like I said, you have to be honest, open-minded, and willing to want to learn And you have to not submit, but you have to just sit back and really reflect on what is the best route for me to take when it comes to knowledge of self. Because knowledge of self is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not something that you reach and then you're like, okay, I'm there already. It's a never-ending journey. It's a constant process of building, progressing, and elevating, and eradicating and annihilating that in which you used to know. You feel what I'm saying? So my thing is, and like I said before, a long time ago, the key factors in knowledge of self is studying, learning, applying, internalizing, absorbing, and understanding yourself and everything that you learn, and making it applicable to yourself. Because what would it look like you having knowledge of self but not taking the knowledge and activating it and using it and internalizing it to the point where you can see the said results or the outcome? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like we take this and it's something cool. No, this is not something cool. This is not a fad. This is not a fashion. You know what I'm saying? The 5%ers have been around for years, months and days. You know, we just do it in a contemporary way. You know, we teach that the black man is God, the black woman is the earth, and the babies are the greatest, and then the link to the future, who should be cherished, loved, respected, protected, and understood. So it's the same way with yourself, you know? And the thing about it is this: there's nothing wrong with or wanting to learn and open your mind. The problem is that when you open your mind, you have to be willing to understand every principle of life in order for you to get the best part out of everything. You know, I did a video before. I said, in life, everything has a silver lining, even bad situations, because you can find some good in it. And it's the same thing with knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is sometimes a lonely road, but you have to find the best part in it. You have to remain optimistic. You have to remain, you know, humble, and you have to remain grateful, because somebody's taking the time out of their schedule and life to teach you something new and to help you learn more about yourself. You know, some people don't waste their time searching for that which does not exist, because of the mere fact that that's wasted time and energy. And one thing you can't get back is time. You know what I'm saying? You could waste money, you know, you could blow money, but one thing you can't waste is time, because time is of the essence, is a valuable principle that must be understood and used accordingly. So, to all my newborns, when you come into this knowledge of self, you are learning a cultural aspect of who you are. You're learning about your history. You're learning about other people's history. The who, what, when, where, whys, and hows. And you're learning how to understand yourself through people. In other words, let's just say for instance, right, you had an anger problem, right? And with the knowledge of self, it teaches you how to be more humble and practice patience and humility through being humble, right? And as time goes on, you start seeing other people's characteristics with the same thing that coincides with yours, with you having an anger problem, you know, with you, you know, having impulsive outbursts. It helps you identify things that you would love to work on more, because that's what knowledge of self teaches you. It teaches you as time goes on to learn more about who you are and learn more about yourself, because you have to know and understand your duty and position and your obligation to yourself as well as to other people. And you have to know your role in the universe. What role and position do you play? You know, it's like playing basketball, right? You're a point guard. You're not gonna play a center if you're a point guard, because that's not your role. Your role is to learn every aspect of what a point guard is. And the reason why I bring that up, because I play basketball, and I'm just using that as a simple analogy or illustration of what I'm striving to stress and emphasize. So just follow me. So like I said, if you are a point guard, you're not going to play the role and position of a center, because at the end of the day, the center has a different role and function. Same as yourself. You have a different role and function, and your modus operandi or your mode of operating may be totally different from the center. Now, the things that you have in mind is that your position is you're responsible for 4 other people, but you're also responsible for the things you do as well. So that means that you have to take responsibility and be accountable for what you say and what you do and how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that this journey, like I said, is a never-ending journey. You can never stop learning, and you should never want to stop learning. Because once you stop learning, that means that you basically said to yourself, I know all that I need to know. Then I'm going to do all I need to do for myself at this point in my life. I don't need no more things to learn. And one thing that kind of gets me is people always use this cliche phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't agree with that. Because even the oldest dog can always learn something new. Let's say, for instance, the dog never learned how to sit. And you teach him how to sit by doing certain commands, and he ends up following that command. That is teaching an old dog new tricks, because the reason being, because he might have never listened before, but now he's listening. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm going with this? See, before you might have had a short attention span. Now you're more attentive because the wisdom that's bestowed upon you is gravitating you towards learning more about yourself. And that's one thing that people have to understand with this knowledge of self. It's not all about having superior knowledge. It's not all about having the best knowledge. It's about applying and knowing what you know and knowing how to use what you know, because it's easy for you to get it. It's hard for you to keep it. Let me repeat that. It's easy for you to get it. It's harder for you to keep it, because you can have knowledge of self for years, months, and days and never learn how to apply it properly. That is the key. Properly applying the knowledge, or properly applying knowledge itself towards you. You might point fingers everywhere else, but you have to realize that you're on this road and this journey for you. It's not for nobody else. It's for the betterment of you. Some people say, I want to get knowledge of self for my children because I want to be a better father. That's peace, but you have to understand yourself first. You have to understand where's your proclivities and your idiosyncrasies and your differences and things that you're not good at, and be able to cultivate that into a point where now your worst parts become your best parts. You know what I'm saying? Your poor parts become your best parts. And it's always about growth and development. That is one thing that is mainly key in knowledge of self. Growth and development, and also change. Because knowledge of self is supposed to change you in a way where you see life in a different perspective. You don't look at it how you used to look at it. That's why I said you have to unlearn what you've learned. You don't look at it in the same light anymore. You look at it in the aspect of what it's supposed to be looked at. You looked at it from many different points of views. See, when you was religious, you might have looked at it from one point of view. You might have stood on the left side and looked at it. But having knowledge of self helps you be circumspect in your perspective. So now you can see from all different angles. You feel what I'm saying? You can see from here. You can see from there. You can see from there. You can also see from there all the way that way. You feel what I'm saying? You have to be circumspect in knowledge yourself because it puts you in a position to help you see things in a different light. So once again, in conclusion to this, because I'm going to wrap this up. When seeking knowledge yourself, the key thing is always to be open-minded and willing to learn. And also, most importantly, honest with yourself. Know why you want knowledge yourself. Know why do you want it. Don't get it because everybody else is getting it, because this is not a fad or a fashion. This is for the betterment of your life. And once you start seeing the results that's positive, fruitful, beneficial, and productive and progressive, then you'll be able to help people in search of them learning and knowing about themselves. With that being said, have a blessed evening or a blessed morning. I trust and will that this video was beneficial, even though it might be long. But if you really pay attention to what I'm saying, you can benefit from this. And for those that are my subscribers, I appreciate your input, your insight. Even those that don't agree with what I'm saying, I still appreciate your insight. If you're ever in need of knowledge of yourself, and you probably want to get in contact with me, and you're in a different state or so, my name on Facebook is Scientific Intelligence. My name on Instagram is Intelligence27. You could get at me that way. Or if you have an email address, drop it in the comment box below, and I'll be able to point you in the right direction. Because I always want for myself what I want for my brothers and sisters, and that means love, peace, and happiness, and to be progressive and productive in their journey of life, and to learn the science to everything in life, which is themselves. Peace. Have a blessed one.